Yum, yum!
Hello everyone, Steve White here. In this video I'm going to show how to make a spline road in Unreal Engine using its new non-destructive landscape tool system, which will allow you to deform the landscape to conform to spline-based actors. For this to work, you'll need to use Unreal Engine version 4.24 or above. Okay, so to make this work, it's really simple. So I'm just going to go ahead and select my landscape, and then under the Details tab, I'm going to come down here to this Landscape subsection. There's a box here that says Enable Edit Layers. You want to make sure to have this checked. And once you do, you can come over here into the landscape section, and now you can see we have a layer in here. We want to be in the Manage tab, and we want to make sure we have our Edit Spline tool enabled. Now we need to create a single dedicated layer that's for splines. Things like the sculpting tools and the texture painting tools can all have multiple layers, but the spline needs a single dedicated layer, so we'll create that now. So I'm going to right click on this layer and say Create. And that'll create a new layer. I'm going to name this Spline. And I'm going to right click on that and say Reserve for Splines. Okay, and I'll just say yes. Okay, so now this is pretty much all set up. So now all we need to do is just control click to lay down our first point, and then just control click to create different points to create a spline track. Now I can right click on this first point to complete that so that it's a complete loop. Okay, so now there's one of these that that looks like it's crossing over in itself. It's really easy to fix. Just select it, activate the rotate tool, and just rotate that around until that interpolation corrects itself. Okay, so now we need to make this actually look like a road. So this spline is made up of all these control points. That's what these little landscape mountain looking icons are. These are just controlling the shape of the spline. The spline itself is made up of segments, and the segments are what we're going to attach the static mesh actor to. So to select all of the segments, I need to come up here to the landscape spline subsection, and I'm going to choose segments. So now all of our segments are selected. Now we can attach a static mesh actor to all of them at once. So if I come down here to landscape spline meshes, I can just click this plus sign to add an element. And if I drop this down, you can see now I have a slot for a static mesh actor. I've already downloaded a kit from the Unreal Marketplace that has some different road meshes on it. If I look at this in the static mesh editor, you can see that I just have this little road section that's got some grass and a sidewalk, and we're going to just repeat that along the the spline. So to do that, just come over here. I've got this selected in my content browser. Just click on the arrow, and now you can see that I have this road attached to this spline mesh actor. Okay, now there is a little problem with this sort of penetrating through the landscape. To fix that, we need to offset this a little from the landscape itself. So to do that, I'm going to select all those control points with this Select All Connected tool. And then there's this Mesh Vertical Offset. I'm just going to change this something like 10. And that should fix any penetration that is happening here. And now this is pretty much all ready to go. So if I select one of these points and just move it up, you can see that the landscape's going to go with it. You can also drag it down, and that's going to actually carve into the landscape. And if you don't like the way how steep that fall off is, you can come in here and adjust the the side fall off. And just soften that up. Okay, and there's some other controls in here to do similar things, like you can just affect one side of it or the other side. So you can make one side soft and the other side steep. And that's pretty much all there is to it.
Yum, yum!